Hi, welcome to XR for Work. This is the show where we explore the immersive, virtual, mixed, and augmented platforms designed for business and professional use. My name is Rick, and I'm your host here at XR for Work. Today, we continue to explore the state of what's possible in VR, and we're going to revisit a popular topic, that of productivity on the Quest. Quest is probably unarguably the most popular VR headset in production today. And we did a video about a year ago, almost a year ago to this week, back on its first year anniversary, looking at productivity in the Quest. And so today we want to take a look at what's changed and how close we are to Oculus's and Facebook's vision of productivity in VR. And so with that, let's get started. And so those of you who've used the Quest for any period of time, no doubt have seen the video that's running on the screen right now. And this is Oculus's production from just over a year ago, where they're giving us a sense of what they imagine and were planning and building at the time to allow people to actually get work done within a Quest headset. And things that you'll see in this video include hand tracking, which has been around for a little bit of time, the desk that you could maybe see lit up there for just a second in the video, the messaging that's coming through on the screen right there, the use of the Logitech K830 keyboard and trackpad for kind of that fine motor activity that is sometimes required to get things done. This two-way communication between workers utilizing the Messenger platform. This work being done within the Oculus Browser. And to a lesser extent, the use of voice dictation and voice commands that have recently been released, such as, "Hey, Facebook," and which I think I just activated. So with that, let's see how close they've come to that realization. So today's video was all filmed right in my kitchen and dining area at this counter that is a perfect height for a stand-up desk for me. I do kind of prefer to stand when I'm working throughout the day. So I will tend to come into the kitchen area here, sometimes with my laptop. But today, all the filming for today's segment, utilizing the Quest, was done right here at our stand-up counter. And the first thing that I did when I got in here was actually go and define a desk surface. So these settings can be found in the experimental features in the settings options on your Quest. Now, the reason you don't have any other visual recording here except these messages is that Quest will not allow you to record your pass-through. And so what I'm seeing here as I'm setting my desk up was the pass-through of my environment. And so I apologize for that, but it was really just the counter that you had seen in the previous picture. And once I have my desk set up, I'm going to go up here to the quick actions and select hand tracking, because that's what we'll be using today during this segment. And so quick actions, hand tracking, and I'm going to set my controllers down on the counter. And now it's all about the hands. And you can see the ghost hands very clearly outlined over top of the gray flat desk surface that you have here. Now, what I'm doing here is I have grabbed my K830 and I'm going up to toggle the on switch. And as soon as I turn it on, because I've already connected the K830 via Bluetooth to my Quest, it immediately pops into view. I get a message from Oculus, hey, you're going to use hand tracking now because you've turned your keyboard on, and we're good to go. And so now it's all about using the hands. I've got my desk, I've got my K830, and I've got my ghost hands up in front of me. Now, there's really two positions for you to use your hands in, right? There's palm up or palm sideways or palm down, however you want to define it. But palm up and then a pinch, forefinger and thumb. On the left hand is a contextual menu. On the right hand is the Oculus menu. So if I pinch with the right hand, forefinger and thumb, Oculus menu comes up. I pinch again, it goes away. So no matter where I am or kind of where I might get lost or stuck, if I do that right hand palm up pinch, I'll get back to the Oculus menu. Now, what I'm doing here is I've actually now turned my hand kind of sideways or palm down and done a pinch, and I've grabbed that menu, that Oculus menu, and just showing that I can now move it around in front of me. This is a fairly new feature where I can kind of get that menu out of my way, and I actually have to do that in the video a couple of times so that I can better access the content in front of me. Now I've brought up my browsers, and again, I'm using my reach and pinch, and then I can select Windows. It's the equivalent of a left mouse click on my PC. So you can see my hand kind of in this grip or pre-pinch motion. You can see this pointer pointing out from my pinch position, and then the little circle or the mouse cursor on the screen where I'm pointing. And as I point and pinch, I'm selecting things that are coming up on the screen. And so this is kind of, this is your mouse. This is the equivalent to your mouse in VR. And I can open Windows and I can pinch and close, and I can select the position of the cursor. I'm going to open the keyboard, and again, I can pinch and grab that keyboard, move it around, and place it where almost anywhere I'd like within the screen. Okay, we'll put it up above our head to get rid of it. And then I've got my keyboard in front of me. We're going to go over the keyboard more in depth in a minute. I'm just, again, continuing to demonstrate as I press the keys. And again, now it looks like perhaps that my hands have disappeared. And this is, again, one of those pass-through features that you're unable to show during an Oculus recording. And so you'll have to go with my description. But the hands actually appear as your real hands. They pass through the video of your hands when they rest over top of the keyboard. So I can see my hands. I can see my actual in real life hands, my wedding band on my left ring finger, the little cut I have on my right forefinger. I can see all that as they rest on top of the keyboard. And then when they come around or off of the keyboard again, they go, and to go there, the ghost hand comes up, right? So I kind of get this outline or representation, and the pinch allows me to move things around on the screen. So I can close Windows, I can open Windows, and I can move these browsers around, all using the hand tracking. So we'll let this play for just a second. And again, I put them down on the keyboard. They kind of disappear, but you as the user can clearly see your hands resting on top of the keys on the keyboard. We'll go up here, and I think I'm going to bring my Gmail back up. So, typing away. And, yep, Gmail. And if I go back and again pinch, I'm going to compose a message. It does take a little practice and a little bit of aiming to get this down, but it can quickly become second nature. If you've learned how to represent a mouse cursor from the position of your hand on a desk, this is, if anything, even maybe a little more accurate. And this is just an example also on the K830 of the mouse trackpad and how it can span all the positions in front of you and around the windows. Okay, let's move on from that. So we've got our desk. I didn't demonstrate the chair element. It's very much, again, just like setting up the desk. You'll put your controller in front and outline the chair or the couch. I believe they call it a couch track, but in my case, I have a desk chair. But in this case, I'm standing, so I didn't track a chair. Let's go on. So now let's talk about the Oculus browser, because the browser in Oculus is where you will get all your work done. It's not like you're going to open up Outlook or PowerPoint or Word, the applications on a desktop. What you're going to do is actually run them within a browser. So what I just did is I've closed these other two browsers in order to demonstrate things kind of right from the get-go. All the controls for your browser are up here in your upper right-hand corner. So this is where you can select a mobile compatible website. If for some reason the website doesn't render correctly in the Oculus browser, that will be a button you'll want to try. Because remember, you are running on Android when you're in your Oculus Quest. What you can do is you can resize browsers small, medium, large, based on your particular preference or need at the time. You can also increase, decrease font size here to get it just right. And you can kind of see that toggling the sizing within the window there. From here, under the menu, I have settings, I have bookmarks. I can clear my browsing history. I can see my browsing history. And everything that I need here. Downloads, if I've done any downloads. Now, up at the very top of these browser windows, you'll notice a little controller. And in the middle of that controller is a plus sign. If I click the plus sign, and I've got one browser open or two browsers open, I can open another window, and you can kind of see them wrap around you in this carousel-like fashion. You can have 3 windows open at any given point, and within those 3 windows, as many tabs. I've never kind of tested how many tabs you can have open in any given window. Certainly know that the more windows and tabs you have open, the more memory you're using at any given point in the headset. And I did notice after a while that I would have some pauses and slowdowns and gaps between actions as I was working within a lot of browsers and tabs. So I'm going to turn my Logitech keyboard back on. Boom, it comes right into view. I get my message, see your hands while typing, and now I'm back up here using the browser. It's very nice as I go here and I log in to my Microsoft account. I think I'm opening up my Microsoft account. Let me see. Where are we going here? Yes, that it the browsers do persistently remember your logins. So keep that in mind, either from a security perspective. If you don't want that, you'll want to clear those things when you're done. But otherwise, where there's only a single user to the headset, like in my case, I'm perfectly fine and would prefer to be auto-logged into many of these sites rather than log in each and every time. And then from here, I can open up any of the documents that I might be working on and that I've saved up in my OneDrive or in my Microsoft Office account. I can get to my Outlook email. I can get to my Gmail, as you had seen in the last video. So the browsers are very, very competent for doing most of your work within the web browser. So we'll pull Gmail up. And again, the way I would have tended to work in here is I would probably have my mail accounts open in one of these browser windows, kind of pop it off to the side, bring my Microsoft account over to the center and work on my documents there. And perhaps in this other browser, either have maybe some games that I might want to jump into in between activities or work efforts, or if I were going to take part in a audio video type conference utilizing a Zoom or WebEx, I would be there. Now, obviously, if I was going to participate in a video conference in this manner, the users on the other end would not be able to see me, at least yet. Perhaps that would be one of the things that Oculus might be able to build into the product, so that just like I'm broadcasting my avatar to you now, you would be able to broadcast the avatars out while you were in a video conference call. I think that would be actually pretty cool and unique. Okay. I think this was just interesting while I was working in PowerPoint and it wanted to actually do a PowerPoint presentation. The browser and the environment actually seemed to know what I was doing, and it blanked out everything else and allowed me to kind of run this exclusively full screen and close everything else. So that was kind of cool. And I see quite regularly updates from Oculus for the browsers and for the voice dictation. So they are obviously continuing to work and refine those products. All right, let's go in and we're going to talk now about the K830 keyboard. And so under experimental features, you would go, and this is where you would do the Bluetooth pairing. And so I'm going to click pair. Now, again, this is one of those things that you're just going to see a black screen here. Oculus would not record what I have connected to my headset. And so I've already connected the Logitech to the headset. I had no trouble doing that. Now, the minute I turn it on, within 5 seconds, it shows up nice and bright here on the desk that I've laid out. This is really, really powerful and cool. Other applications have come up with and done the capability to map keyboards in physical space for you within an Oculus application. The thing is, once you've mapped it, that is a solid fixed coordinate in space. And if that keyboard were to move just a fraction, especially given the size of the keys that we're dealing with, you're off, you're out. And what do you see me doing here is that as I'm moving this keyboard around on the desk, Oculus is able to track it. What I'm doing here is I'm actually tilting it up, and it continues to track it, tracks it just fine. This is really, really useful and helpful because obviously we're blind to the real world while we're in the headset. And if we were to bump or knock or otherwise nudge the keyboard one way or another, we don't want to lose the position of the keys. Here I'm kind of showing you how, as I put my hands over top of the keyboard, again, and you don't get this pass through in the video, my apologies, but I actually see my physical hands over top of these keys. So again, it's my meaty claws that I see hovering over the keyboard, and I can type away at it. Occasionally you see a little flash of the outline of my hand, but for the most part, they go dark during the recording. And when I lift my hands off of the keyboard, again, you get ghost hands, and I can pull up, I think I'm going to pull up a email here. So just I have a window to type into. And I'll position my cursor, and just to show you, as you type, you can clearly see the keys light up. And this is a great visual indicator that indeed you're hitting the key that you intend. Because there is this little bit of a dissonance in your brain that even though you see this keyboard and you kind of see your hands, because you have no other visual cues to what's around you, there's a bit of a disconnect, at least for me there was in my brain, with the typing. Although I adapted and got used to this very, very quickly. Now this is, again, just an example of using the trackpad and the mouse, and that you can take the mouse basically 360 degrees around you in the Oculus environment. So it'll work on any window or application, obviously, that it's resting on. But I can also, use it to go up and click on the keyboard that I've placed above the other windows and enter or move it as I might need. I checked the function keys, begin of line, end of line, special characters, all of those things worked. And then I stopped the recording. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is the messenger messaging. And here I am, I'm in my Twitter account and I'm just scrolling through, and I had asked my wife, hey, could you please go into Messenger and just send me some messages over the next couple of minutes while I record so that I can capture them on the screen. And so this is how they come up on the screen. So they float right above your main menu here, your main Oculus menu, and you get kind of that one line, and it says click here to see more. And so that was one of her messages. And obviously it's Facebook Messenger. So the only folks that you're sending and receiving from are your Facebook friends. So I'm not so sure how that will work or translate into a work setting or environment. Right? I don't know of many. And again, here's another message. She was sitting outside, I think, in the sun, talking about getting a sunburn. But I don't know how well that will translate to work environments. Obviously, I think where they need to take this and where I'm hoping they will take this is leveraging some of the functionality we've seen in applications like Notify, where the Oculus application on the phone will actually allow us to identify applications we want to sync with and have those messages brought into the app or into the environment with us. Now, in this case, all of these messages are operating through the People tab here. And as I open that up, you'll see it says Messenger up here. And I have two icons, two images of me. One of them is my Facebook account and one of them is my Oculus account. And so you have Facebook Messenger and you have Oculus Chat. Two separate things, or at least they're broken out separately here, with two separate groups of people. So I have folks that I'm friends with on Oculus, and I have folks that I'm friends with on Facebook. And those chats and messages come through in those two different channels. It's the same panel here within the menu, but it is two different channels within there that I would toggle back and forth to communicate with or message folks from. So I can open up that messenger panel, I can search for folks, and I can type in a message or use voice or use one of the stock predefined messages to respond with. And it worked, well enough, very basic, again, very basic text entry. You're not making messenger calls yet. You're not able to do, certainly, again, a video call through it. It's simple text chat with folks that you're connected with on Facebook. So just for you to understand those limitations. Other than that, it works fine. So where are we? Okay. Productivity features in the Quest 2 here coming up on its second anniversary. Hand tracking is required. It's been refined, works really, really well. Something to get used to. Logitech K830 is the only keyboard you can use right now, but it works really, really well. You can set up your desk in VR, although it's not required. There are many occasions I would walk up to a surface, set my keyboard down, and not create a desk, and it was fine. The desk is there, again, for a visual cue if you tend to get up and move around. But again, if I get up and move away from my keyboard, the headset's coming off anyway. But I guess it's a good thing to track. It's same you can do with your couch/chair in VR. You can set those up. And if you have a dedicated workspace for this is great. But even in Oculus's own video, they show that user walking around at various locations in the house and moving from place to place to use this. Voice commands. Didn't demonstrate this, but the Hey Facebook command, I did just launch it. It did just come up. Seems to be somewhat inconsistent. but it does work. It did work just now. So again, something that I anticipate that they continue to refine and get better, as well as voice dictation. Now, it's great having the keyboard. I love having the keyboard, and you need it for a lot of unstructured type input, right? When you are doing programming or coding, or you need that kind of key trackpad and mouse for fine motor input, it's great. But I think for just structured text input, emails, documents, voice dictation is the way to go. Oculus Browser, again, if you're an Oculus user, you see the browser getting updated weekly. There'll be an update or two every week that comes into that web browser. And I'm sure they're continuing to refine its utilization for a lot of the web-based platforms that are out there, Google Docs and Microsoft 365. I'm sure both of those right now would work perfectly fine within the Oculus browser. And then the addition of Facebook Messenger for text-only messages to Facebook friends. It's serviceable. And again, I'm sure we'll see continued updates coming to it. Okay, that's it for today. We really thank you again for joining us here at XR for Work. We hope you'll give us some feedback. Let us know what shows you'd like to see, what platforms you'd like covered. If you have a platform you'd like covered, please reach out to us. You can reach us at, let me pull this back up, xrforwork@gmail.com. Please consider stopping by and joining the Facebook group at XR for Work. Follow us on Twitter at XR for Work. And look us up on LinkedIn, Rick Castile, Nicholas Johansson, and Tom Soderlin, who make up XR for Work. So thanks again, and we'll see you in the metaverse. Bye.